Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on the news at 8. I'm Sarah Jacob. Let's get you up to date with the day's news right now, and it's all about the elections. The Congress has released its third list of 8 candidates for the Punjab Assembly elections. The Punjab Chief Minister will be contesting from 2 seats. So Chief Minister Charanjit Channi will now contest from Bhadaur constituency in addition to the Chamkaur Sahib seat. The party had earlier announced its candidature from Chamkaur Sahib only. Congress has also fielded Vishnu Sharma against Captain Amrinder Singh in the Patiala constituency. Let's go across to my colleague, but Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party has also said that according to their survey, Channi ji was losing from Chamkaur Sahib, and today the Congress has announced that he will be contesting from 2 seats. Does this mean our survey was true? Now, following all of this is NDTV's Mohammad Ghazali. Ghazali, first and foremost, given the fact that the Congress party has promised to unveil their chief ministerial face on Wednesday, what hints are the party high command dropping by fielding the chief minister from these 2 seats, and what is the relevance of Bhadaur?
See, why it appears that it is that the party high command has somewhere dropped the hints that Mr. Channi will be the CM face for the party in Punjab, because these last 8 seats for which the list has been announced today, this announcement has been delayed for the last couple of weeks because these seats were very controversial. A lot of party leaders were lobbying for these 8 seats to have their own people fielded from these seats. And today what we have heard from our sources is that these 8 seats have been finalized by the party high command. So Mr. Channi being fielded from Bhadaur Assembly seat certainly has the stamp of party high command, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, when he was here in Punjab in Jalandhar a couple of days ago, he had clearly said that as per the party workers' demands, Punjab Congress will go in Punjab polls with a CM face, which has never been a party's norm in earlier polls or in other states. Now, why this is relevant in a sense that Mr. Channi is already contesting from Chamkaur Sahib seat, where he has represented the constituency thrice, and since the Congress party replaced Amrinder Singh with Mr. Channi, the primary aim was to woo the SC voters. Now, these SC voters are concentrated, or their highest population is in the Doaba region of Punjab, which consists of Jalandhar, Hoshiarpur, Nawashahar and Kapurthala district. Now, this Bhadaur seat falls in Barnala district, which is in the Malwa region of Punjab, which has highest number of seats. That is 69 seats come under Malwa region, and it is considered that Aam Aadmi Party is dominant in that particular region. Now, Aam Aadmi Party has fielded their CM face, Mr. Bhagwant Mann, from one of the seats, that is Dhuri, which also comes in the Malwa seat. So, to counter that growing effect of Aam Aadmi Party, as well as to woo the voters in that particular region, to woo the SC voters of that Malwa region, the party has decided to field Mr. Channi from the second seat as well.
All right, thanks for that. Let's go across to another state that's heading to the polls. BJP supporters have burnt effigies of Prime Minister Modi and the Manipur Chief Minister. They've shouted slogans as protests erupted after the party named candidates for the elections coming up in a month, leaving many disappointed. Party offices were ransacked in various parts of the state. Protesters gathered in several areas with placards. Security has been stepped up around the BJP headquarters in Imphal. A few party functionaries who were hoping to get tickets have resigned. Most of the disgruntled leaders are those who were not selected to accommodate defectors from the Congress.
What has happened is that this afternoon, after the BJP released its list of candidates for all the 60 seats, where we did see that at least 23% of those names were people who were turncoats. This includes 10 Congress MLAs who have switched over to the BJP. In total, 16 of them had switched over in the past 5 years. Out of them, 10 have got tickets, and also 4 other MLAs who are turncoats from other parties, like partner parties like LJP, NPP, one independent and one TMC MLA. They all switched over to the BJP. They all got tickets. So now what we are hearing and what the reports are coming in, those visuals are being played, that in different pockets, supporters of candidates or supporters of party leaders who were hopeful of getting party tickets are miffed with the party, and therefore protests have broken out. Although state BJP sources are saying that this is a regular feature in any national party. It happens with the Congress as well. They can't please everybody because the selection of candidate has been done on the basis of winnability. Winnability has been a top priority factor, but what we are picking up is that there have been all the sporadic protests which are, or in fact at this moment as we report, we are getting reports of more sporadic protests by the party supporters in different parts of Imphal. Now most of these places where this these protests have taken place, where some of the party functionaries have resigned, some of the supporters have resigned, are areas where mostly turncoat Congress MLAs, Congress leaders have got party tickets. So this is something which however was on expected line, and therefore one can say that right from for the past 2 days security around the state BJP headquarters in Imphal has been intensified. In fact, we are playing out visuals. We have played out visuals in our previous broadcast as well. How the state BJP headquarters has been fortified. So this was something that perhaps the state BJP leaders were expecting, because remember one thing that we had reported before as well, that in Manipur there was a situation where among in the 60 seats, more than 40 seats were such seats that you had 4 to 6 very strong contenders. In some seats the ticket hopefuls were in double figures. So therefore what party leaders are telling us that all will be well. This is a repercussion. This is a instant knee-jerk reaction with supporters who wanted their leader to get the ticket, but it was denied.
Meanwhile, Parliament is all set to resume work for the first time this year. President Kovind, as head of Parliament, will be addressing both houses of Parliament, where he's expected to speak of the government's achievements and plans for the coming year. This is the first part of the budget session. It's a short window of about 10 days. Apart from the President's address, the Finance Minister will be presenting the budget on the 1st. Both houses will take up the motion of thanks to the President, with the Prime Minister replying to the debate in both houses, most likely on the 7th. Both houses of Parliament will be meeting separately because of COVID protocol reasons, with the Rajya Sabha in the first half of the day and the Lok Sabha in the evening. So the time allotted for zero hour and matters of public importance have been curtailed because of the paucity of time, with 5 state elections taking place. Both the Treasury and the opposition are keen to score political points, with the opposition determined to raise the issue of the incursion of Indian territory by the Chinese, the rise in prices, and of course as a shadow of the Pegasus issue that looms large over the 2022 budget session, as the entire monsoon session was washed out after the opposition had jointly stalled the proceedings over this issue, and now it's back up again after this weekend, when a New York Times report claimed that India bought the Pegasus spyware from Israel as part of a defense deal struck in 2017. So, as we look ahead to the budget, Indian exports have been impacted by weak global supply chains due to the pandemic. And under these circumstances, what do exporters want ahead of the budget 22? Here's a ground report from an export manufacturing unit.
India's leading export manufacturing units took a hit as COVID-19 pandemic crippled the global supply chains and countries scrambled to impose lockdown to contain the spread of virus. With the global economy slowly moving out of the shadow of pandemic, the exporters are struggling now to take their business to pre-COVID levels. For decades, leather shoe manufacturer Sunil Harjai has exported high-class ready-made shoes to top brands in Europe and Latin America. But now he's worried as the global supply chains are still weak, the orders from European and Latin American countries are just 1/4 of the pre-COVID level. The cost of importing high-quality leather products remains high, and the freight charges have risen manifold during the COVID period.
Biggest issue here is the supply chain has broken. So the raw material price, the cost price of the raw material is gone up by 40%. Let's say the cost of the shoe was $15. Today it is costing $17.50. Buyer is still buying at $15. So who's going to bear this $2.50 difference?
The leather exporters like you, what are your expectations? What are your demands from FM?
We need at least the minimum of the income tax, 1, 0% duty, 0% duty on any components globally sourced to make a product very competitive.
Exporters say they also want better access to credit at low interest rates to revive their business. They want FM to announce an extension of the emergency credit guarantee scheme announced under the COVID relief package for at least 10 years.
Today, every factory has been under the impact of the loans, which is 3 lakh crores. Loans has been distributed. How are we going to pay back that money? Because I don't have the money for. Means the installment, I don't have the money. For the rate, the interest is so high, I cannot bear. The ECGLS scheme with 3 lakh crores has to be extended for 10 years. Honorable Prime Minister, please listen to me. I'm pleading on behalf of my total footwear industry. I'm pleading it.
The COVID impact on the export business has hit the large number of workers employed in this sector. The high inflation in recent months have only added to the crisis. They want FM to announce a roadmap in Budget 2022 to contain the rise in prices of food products, LPG, petrol and diesel. क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस है आपकी वित्त मंत्री से?
सर महंगाई इतनी तेजी से बढ़ी है ना 2 साल में, बहुत ज़्यादा महंगाई हो गई है। ना तो वर्कर का खर्चा चल पा रहा है, ना परिवार चलाना पा रहे हैं हम लोग, और महंगाई पेट्रोल से लेके गैस से लेके हर चीज़ पे बढ़ी हुई है।
आप चाहते हैं कि वित्त मंत्री आपके जैसे जो वर्कर हैं उनके लिए राहत का ऐलान करें?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल हमारे लिए राहत का ऐलान करें और महंगाई पे बिल्कुल थोड़ा कंट्रोल करें।
महंगाई इतनी हो रही है, हमारे खर्चे नहीं चल पा रहे हैं, घर पे कुछ नहीं ले जा पाते, ना कोई सेविंग्स हो पाती हैं। बस यही थोड़ा सा जो हमारे ये रेगुलर की चीज़ें हैं इनको थोड़ा सा इनको सस्ते भाव में सस्ते रेट करने चाहिए। और पेट्रोल पे इतनी महंगाई हो रही है कि आदमी अपने कन्वेंस से चलना भी बहुत भारी हो गया है आजकल। इसी पे थोड़ा कंट्रोल करना चाहिए बस।
The leather footwear exporters say that they are still struggling to deal with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The disruptions in the global supply chain has not yet been restored, and they now want FM to provide them a relief package in terms of more access to credit and concessions in tax and duties to help revive their falling business. In an export unit in Noida with my camera colleague Ashok Mahale, this is Himanshu Shekhar for NDTV.
And ahead of the 2022 budget, what are the expectations of farmers? Farmers are demanding a relief package from the finance minister in the budget. Here's a ground report from Modinagar.
In the sugarcane fields of Manki village in Modinagar, farm workers are working hard to cut the ready sugarcane crops. Farmers in this sugarcane belt of western UP are worried the cost of farming is going up as fertilizers and power have become more expensive, but their incomes have not risen. Farmers complain that they are not getting the right price for their produce in local mandis here. They now want more fertilizer subsidy and new SOPs for the distressed farm sector in this year's budget.
DAP खाद है वो भी जो है 1200-1400 रुपए कट्टा तो वैसे ही मिल रहा और 5 किलो वैसे मिल रहा कम उसमें यूरिया का। तो किसानों को समस्या तो है ही है, सब्सिडी बढ़ानी चाहिए। किसानों के लिए सबसे बड़ी मांग यही है।
खेती का भी ये कुछ खाद नहीं मिलता, कहीं उड़ाई नहीं मिलती, कहीं कुछ नहीं मिलता। डीजल महंगा हो गया, बताओ क्या आदमी क्या खा ले क्या कर ले, बताओ। सबसे बड़ी परेशानी है कि मजदूरी नहीं मिलती।
Farmers say a high inflation, especially the rising cost of edible oil and other food items, have further aggravated the financial burden as they are struggling to raise families and educate their children.
ये बजट में कम से कम ये तेल सस्ता होना चाहिए, किसानों को फायदा होना चाहिए। रोज घर में भी झगड़ा होता घरवाली से, क्यों बजट उससे भी नहीं संभल पा रहा किचन का।
बिजली का बिल भी कम होना चाहिए, खाद भी टाइम पे मिलना चाहिए, मंदा होना चाहिए। और ये रसोई का जो सामान है वो भी मंदा होना चाहिए। तेल 200 रुपए किलो है जी, कहाँ से करें हम लोग।
The prevailing COVID situation has also hit the daily wage laborers working in the fields here, as their wages have not gone up as well. They want FM to announce new measures to boost employment opportunities, especially in the unorganized sector.
हमें जी ये चाहिए कि नौकरी कहीं मिल जाए, कंपनी में आओ, ड्यूटी कहीं होगी, हम लोग ड्यूटी करेंगे तब तो बाल बच्चा पढ़ पाएंगे जी।
Nearly a kilometer from these fields, the sugarcane farmers are lined up outside a sugar mill to sell their produce. Here, the biggest challenge is the timely payment of sugarcane dues.
2021 का पेमेंट नहीं हुआ अभी तक।
अभी 1.5 महीने का रह चुका है।
पिछले सीजन का सभी किसानों का बकाया 1.5 महीने का, और ये तो पूरा सीजन का है ही नया।
As farmers struggle to make two ends meet, they are now hoping that Finance Minister will announce new relief measures for the distressed farm sector in Budget 2022.
The farmers of Modinagar say that the cost of farming in this region is going up, but they are not getting the right price for their produce as per the MSP rate fixed by the government. The rise in cost of fertilizer and power has further increased the burden on the farmers here, and they now want FM to announce a relief package for farmers in Budget 2022. In Modinagar with my colleague Shashikant Jha, this is Himanshu Shekhar for NDTV.
Welcome back. Now, at least 5 terrorists associated with the Pakistan-sponsored proscribed terror outfits, the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed, have been killed during a twin encounter in the last 12 hours in two with the encounters with security forces in Pulwama and the Budgam districts of Jammu and Kashmir. Crucially, this includes a JEM commander.
Back-to-back encounters in Kashmir. 5 terrorists killed, including a top Jaish commander. The encounter started after 2 separate anti-terror operations were launched by security forces late Saturday evening. 4 terrorists were killed in Pulwama, while 1 was killed in Budgam district. Police said that Jaish commander Zahid Wani was one of the longest surviving terrorists and was involved in a number of killings.
2017 से एक्टिव था, बहुत सारे किलिंग में इन्वॉल्व था, रिक्रूटमेंट में इन्वॉल्व था, और समीर डार के मरने के बाद यह डिस्ट्रिक्ट कमांडर था, इनफैक्ट कि जेएस का चीफ था पूरे वैली का।
In January alone, 21 terrorists have been killed in over a dozen encounters in the valley. The actionable intelligence security forces say is coming from locals, which is helping them carry out encounters without collateral damage.
This particular op was not an isolated operation. This was part of a series of human intelligence-based operations that have been undertaken in 15 Corps in the past few months. This, of course, with this success, and as IGP Sahib has said, we have taken a very important step in neutralizing the threat of Jaish-e-Mohammed.
According to the police, one of the 5 terrorists killed is a Pakistani national, taking the number of foreign terrorists killed this month to 8.
The first month of the year has witnessed a massive anti-militancy offensive by the security forces. 21 militants have been killed during the month, and it is a specific information provided by locals which has become key to security forces' success. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, NDTV.